And now we come to what we all wanted to hear is the Ayurvedic aspect of the whole thing. Two words definitely in Ayurveda, the Ayu and the Veda. We all know it's a very ancient science. We can say it's 5,000 just to put it as a number, but the actual thing is Anadi, which has got no beginning. So it has come from Atharva Veda, so one of the Vedas of the. So it's very ancient. It's not man-made. It always existed. So what does this talk? This ancient wisdom tell us about of our life. Ayu means life, and Veda is to know. Where the knowledge of life is expounded is Ayurveda. Most of us knew that the Indian scriptures dealt with so many aspects, from math to astronomy to alchemy to physics. And nowadays we know is the yoga and the Ayurveda aspect as well. So the roots of this science back to those days where everything were as per how to go with the nature. Right now we have become so intelligent. We feel that we are creating everything, and we have forgotten who is actually the creator. So somewhere man has become a little more egoistic about his achievements, and he thinks that he can escape the law and the rule of nature, but it doesn't happen. So humans are also part of the nature. This we will have to constantly remember, because now we think we can do anything anytime, and it's only the birds and animals who need to, okay, at the dawn start chirping, okay, it's dusk, go back home. So we don't follow these rules, and we are in more problem than the plants, animals, and birds. How do we gather knowledge? What is our connection to the world? And our connection to the world is through our sense organs. We have only these five sense organs, and that is our way that we connect to the world. With our eyes, which go out and they see what's there in the world. The ears collect the sound. So what's great deal about it? This is such a simple, okay, five sense organ, but this is the medium through which we are understanding what's outside us. We understand the world. So that means in the world, there are only five things which are very, very fundamental and which are the basic elements, which forms, like in Sanskrit, we call it as Akasha, which we can loosely translate it as ether, and which represents the sound. So, and then comes a little more grosser than the Akasha is the Vayu aspect. We can loosely translate it as air, where the touch aspect is also added and not just the hearing. Then we get this element of fire. So along with that, with the fire element, it gives us ability to see, along with, of course, the previous two. Then comes the water aspect, which gives us the ability to taste, and the earth aspect to smell. So all these five things are our basic components in the universe. So whatever we see in the universe is made up of these five things. So why we need to know this? Because our body is also a part of the universe only. As I said, we have forgotten that we are a part of nature, and we think we have our own rules, but it doesn't happen that way. We are a part of nature. So these five components, they go into a combination, and they club into two. Like the first two, the most subtlest ones, they combine to form something called as vata in our body. The next two, the fire and the water, they combine to form something called as pitta in our body. And water plus earth, it combines to form kapha in our body. So why we need to know this? Like before, just a little while ago, we found out what are the structures in our back which can go wrong and cause pain. Why do we feel pain? What could go wrong over there? So likewise, the Ayurvedic perspective, this is the one. So one aspect, on the gross aspect, we saw what could go wrong on our back. Now we have to see the subtle aspect, what could go wrong over there. But before we know what's going wrong, we need to know what is normal aspect of it, right? So these basic, whatever we see in this universe are made up of these 5 elements. Human is not a exclusion. It's also inclusive as a part of nature. And these 5 elements go into the permutations and combinations to form these 3 basic aspects in our body. The Vata, the Pitta, and Kapha. So the subtlest is the Vata aspect because it is of the Akasha and the Vayu, that is the ether and the air, which we can loosely translate. And the grossest is the Kapha aspect, which is the water and the earth. And Pitta comes in middle. From this, what we have gathered now so far, the knowledge we understood about our sense organs also. But to this, even our excretory organs, reproductive organs, the speech, arms and legs, these are also linked to this with what we hold, with how we walk. What we have to understand is a human is just a microcosm of the macrocosm. So whatever is in this universe, so I'm not meaning universe is only this earth. Earth is only one planet in this massive cosmos. If we just close our eyes and think of what's there, where is our earth located, what we can visualize in that mighty cosmos, we little dot the earth, in that little dot this Singapore, in that we somewhere sitting over here, and I'm sure there are so many people from other countries also located. We are just a dot of that macrocosm, we should not forget. So it's not, the rules are only for plant kingdom, animal kingdom. We are also part of it. This remembrance we should always hold on. So it is having a 5-fold approach. Internal medicine aspect is there. External therapies are there. Some form of yoga, little bit of diet and lifestyle. All this combined only is going to be a solution. So half-baked knowledge, little bit of here and there, no. Everything has to be fully attended to. In Ayurveda, we've got, when we talk about internal medicines, and we've got certain kinds of therapies where sometimes these Vata, Pitta, Kapha, these energies, they are not very into imbalance. They are just increased little bit here and there. So with little bit of medicines you give, you can pacify them in the body itself. And sometimes they are in so aggravated condition that you have to eliminate it out of the body. So this elimination therapy is what Ayurveda's everybody talks about, called Panchakarma. So Panchakarmas are nothing but a 5-fold therapy. There is some medicine given which you can, vomit out. Some medicine is given through the oral route where you can purge out. Some medicine is given through the anal route or like an enema aspect. Some medicine through the nasal route. Sometimes there are some ways to remove or let out blood. One of the form is the leech, which you see in the picture. So that is called as a Panchakarma aspect. Over here now, we are coming back to the medicine aspect of the back pain. Ayurveda, of course, definitely focuses mostly on the herbs. But yes, people ask, oh, there are metals with Ayurveda and all. So that is entirely a different aspect called as Rasa Shastra, which deals with it. But predominantly what we practice is with the herbs, and not so metals are used. And there could be different combinations. Either it's a single drug and give it in a powder form, or some decoctions are made, or some medicines are prepared in the ghee format, or sometimes there is some juice secreted out of it. So there are different forms of medicines, which we call like a gulika or a rasayana, or leyam, tailam, kashayam, arishtam. And there are different forms, like you're not doing a major panchakarma, you can start with simple oil applications, which is called as abhyanga. You can have some heat fermentation, which is called as kivi. You can do some intensive oil therapy called as spiritual. There is a very beautiful treatment called as kadivasti. So we are going to see the picture in a short while. And these 2 words which you see over here called as Sneha Basti and Kashaya Basti, these are typically the Panchakarma aspects of it, where you put in the body through the anal route some medication. It could be in the oil format, or it could be in some decoction format.